Hello friends, welcome to our YouTube channel Famous Skills. Please subscribe to our channel by pressing the bell icon and do share the videos if you like it and watch the video till the end to understand the concepts clearly. This is Nikhat Fatima and today let us discuss about the manufacturing method and packaging and evaluation of aerosols. In the last video, we have seen the definition, the basic principle and examples of aerosols. Now we'll see the manufacturing methods, packaging and evaluation of aerosols. So as we have seen earlier, the definition of aerosols. Aerosols are nothing but the pressurized containers containing the active ingredients and propellants which upon actuation emit a fine dispersion of liquid or solid materials in a gaseous medium. Now let us see the manufacturing methods of aerosols. Manufacturing methods takes place in two steps basically. First, production of product concentrate and second is addition of propellant to the product concentrate. Addition of propellant to the product concentrate is done by following three methods. That is pressure filling method, cold filling method, compressed gas filling method. Let us see each of them in detail. The first is pressure filling method. This is the most commonly employed method. Product concentrate is filled into the container and valve assembly is crimped into place. The propellant is then added through pressure burette. The pressure burette is capable of metering small volumes of the propellant under pressure into aerosol container through valve system. The desired amount of propellant is allowed to enter the container under its own vapor pressure until the pressure between the burette and the container attains equilibrium. At this equilibrium stage, the propellant stops flowing. For products which gets adversely affected by air trapped in the container, air in the head space is removed before addition of propellant. Next is cold filling method. In this method, both product concentrate and propellants are chilled to minus 34.5 to minus 40 degrees Celsius. And this method is mostly employed for liquefied propellants. The apparatus consists of insulated box fitted with coiled copper tubings as seen in the diagram. Coiled copper tubings. Let me see this one. Insulated box with coiled copper tubings. Okay. The box is filled with cooling system which is the mixture of dry ice and acetone. First, the chilled product is filled into the container. Then the propellant is passed through the coiled tubings. The cold temperature liquefies the propellant and this liquefied propellant is filled in the aerosol container and then valve assembly is inserted and crimped. The filled container is then passed into the heated water bath to test for leakage and container strength. I hope the process is clear for you all. Now let's see compressed gas filling method. This method obviously is used to fill compressed gases which are used as propellants. This requires pressure reducing valve since the gases are under high pressure. In this method, product concentrate is first filled into the container, valve assembly is crimped in place and entrapped air is removed by vacuum pump. Compressed gas is then passed through pressure reducing valve. Okay. Now next see the packaging of aerosols. First, let's see the materials used in packaging the containers. They include glass, plastic, metals. Let's see each of them. Glass containers are stronger and more appealing than metal containers. Obviously, they are eye candies like gas containers. From compatibility point of view, they overcome the possibility of corrosion and also allow greater freedom in their designing. Its use, however, it's limited. because of its brittleness when high pressure is used. Okay, when high pressure is applied, the glasses are broken, hence the use is limited. Now next, see metals. Different metals are used in manufacturing containers like aluminium, tin plated steel and stainless steel. Tin plated steels are used to manufacture non-aqueous aerosols. The sheets are lithographed. Lithographed is nothing but printed. The sheets are first printed, cut and fabricated into desired sizes to make body, cap and bottom. The body is shaped into cylinder. Aluminium. Aluminium is used to manufacture seamless containers. Almost a lot of meter dose inhalers and pharmaceutical aerosols are manufactured by this aluminium. Okay. However, special care must be taken in order to in dispensing the products containing alcohol. Like anhydrous alcohol reacts with aluminium and produces hydrogen, acetyl chloride and other corrosive products. The hydrogen released may even increase the pressure and rupture the aerosols. Aluminium containers coated with organic materials like epoxy, vinyl, phenolic compounds provides additional resistance towards corrosion. Stainless steel. The use of this metal is limited for production of small size containers like inhalation aerosols owing to its high cost. Okay, stainless steel is costly, hence only small size containers are produced using this. Now let's see plastic. Plastics are less in cost, but they have an inherent problem of being permeated by vapor. Hence, they are also of limited use. Now next, see valves. Valve is the important part of aerosol. It helps in dispensing the product from aerosol in a desired manner, that is desired rate and amount. The performance of aerosol depends on type of formulation and valve. They help in preventing the loss of product when not in use. The materials used for the formulation of production of valve must be inert and approved by FDA. Let's see some of the components of the valves. Mounting cup or ferrule. The cup helps in proper attachment of the valve to the container. It is made up of tin plated steel or aluminium. The underside of ferrule is coated with epoxy or vinyl coating in order to prevent corrosion. This corrosion may be caused due to exposure of the cup to the contents of the container. Ferrules are made of aluminium or brass with their ends rolled under the tip of bottle for attachment purpose. Now, valve body or housing. Valve body is placed below the mounting cup. It links the dip tube with stem and actuator. It is made of nylon. An opening of about 0.013 to 0.080 inch is present at point of attachment of dip tube. This opening determines the delivery rate and form in which the product is discharged. Stem. Stem is made up of nylon or metal such as brass or stainless steel. It supports the actuator and delivers the formulation to actuator chamber. Gasket. Gasket is nothing but a disc. It is made up of rubber. It helps in closing the stem orifice, thus prevents the leakage of the contents when valve is closed. Spring. Spring is made up of stainless steel. It helps in opening and closing of the valve. Dip tube. It's a long tube that starts from housing and extends into the product. Actuators. It is an integral part of aerosol package. It is a specially designed button placed in valve system, which helps in easy opening and closing of the valve. It helps in delivering the contents in designed form, that is spray, wet stream, foam, etc. The various types of actuators are spray actuators, foam actuators, solid stream actuators, special actuators. Spray actuators, these helps in dispense a stream of propellant or product concentrate in form of small particles through various openings or orifices. The spray with desired particle size can be obtained with right combination of actuator orifice, vaporization of propellant, and design of inner channels of actuators. Foam actuators. These actuators possess large orifices. Spray actuators, they possess 2 or 3 small orifices, but here foam actuators, they possess large orifice. This large orifice is nothing but opening. This large orifice allows the product to discharge in the form of foam. Solid stream actuators. These actuators are used to dispense semi-solid preparations such as ointments. They also have large orifices similar to foam actuators. Special actuators. These actuators are specially designed to deliver the medicaments to specific sites such as throat, nose, eyes, etc. It is mainly used where rapid onset of action is required. Now let us see the evaluation. Aerosols are subjected to strict evaluation tests under the provision of Hazardous Substance and Drugs and Cosmetic Acts in order to ensure their safety during use and storage. So the various evaluation tests of aerosols include flammability, combustibility, physicochemical characteristics, performance, biological tests. Let's see flammability and combustibility. These properties of aerosols are determined by two tests, flashpoint test and flame extension test. Flashpoint. Flashpoint is the temperature at which aerosol vapors are ignited. The test formulation is chilled to -25 degrees Celsius. The chilled contents are transferred to an apparatus, that is standard tag open cup apparatus, and temperature is increased slowly. The temperature at which the vapors catch fire is noted as flashpoint. Flame extension. This test is performed to study the effect of aerosol formulation on extension of open flame. The test product is sprayed on open flame for about 4 seconds and length of extended flame is measured by ruler. These tests are very important tests in case of aerosols, so we need to understand it thoroughly. I hope you people understood the two tests, flashpoint and flame extension. Okay, now next see physicochemical characteristics. First is vapor pressure. Determination of variation of vapor pressure from container to container is an important aspect of aerosol evaluation, since large variation indicates presence of air in the headspace. Vapor pressure can be measured by the pressure gauge, water bath, or aerosol can be punctured using puncturing devices. Next, see density. The density is determined by modified hydrometer or pycnometer. Okay, these are the instruments used to determine the density. A hydrometer is fitted with a Hoek valve, which is placed into a glass pressure tube. Suitable amount of sample is introduced through Hoek valve, which causes the hydrometer to rise up the length of the glass pressure tube. In this way, the density is read directly from hydrometer. Now the moisture content. The moisture content is measured by Carl Fisher or gas chromatographic method. Now identification of propellants. Propellants are also identified using gas chromatography, infrared spectra, photometry techniques. We can also determine the blends of propellant using these techniques. Now next evaluation is performance. These evaluation includes tests like aerosol valve discharge rate, spray pattern, dosage with method valve, net contents. Let's see each of them in detail. Aerosol valve discharge rate. For this, the aerosol product of known weight is taken and the contents are discharged for given time limit. After this, the container is weighed again and the discharge rate is calculated from change in the weight per time dispensed. Spray pattern. Spray pattern is determined by spraying the product on a paper impregnated with dye talc mixture. Okay, the paper which is impregnated with dye talc mixture. The dye may be either oil soluble or water soluble depending on nature of aerosol. When the particles of aerosol strikes the paper, the dye gets absorbed on the paper and reveals a definite spray pattern. Dosage with metered valves. Metered valves are tested to determine the reproducibility each time the product is dispersed. Of course, there should be, like, every time the product is dispersed, there should be same amount of drug that should be dispersed. Okay, that is reproducibility. Reproducibility is determined by spraying the contents on one or two doses in a solvent or onto a material that absorbs the active ingredient. The solution, the solvent is then assayed and the amount of active ingredient is determined. Now net contents. Net contents are determined by first weighing the empty containers, then the containers is filled and weighed. The difference in weight gives the net contents. Next is foam stability. The stability of foam varies depending on the type of formulation. The stability can be measured by visual evaluation, like just by seeing you can determine the stability of the foam. Then you can also determine the time taken for a certain mass to penetrate the foam, or it can be determined using rotational viscometer. Then next is determination of particle size. Particle size is determined simply by cascade impactor method or light scatter decay. Now let's see the biological tests. This includes therapeutic activity and toxicity. Let's see them. Therapeutic activity. The topical aerosols are applied on test areas and absorption of active ingredients are determined. Similarly, the determination of dosage of inhalation aerosol product is done. Toxicity. The test is carried out to check topical or inhalation toxicity. Mainly aerosol application may cause irritation or chilling effect. Okay, wherever they are applied aerosols, they may cause irritation or chilling effect. The degree of chilling depends upon the type of propellant used. The chilling effects may be tested by measuring the temperature of skin before and after usage of aerosol using thermometers. Inhalation toxicity of inhalation aerosol is determined by exposing the test animals to the aerosol vapors. Then let's see stability testing. Stability testing is very important aspect. A slight deterioration in any component like product concentrate, propellant, container or valves may lead to ineffective product. Stability testing of product concentrate and propellant. Let's see that. Once a product is prepared, various physicochemical properties are studied such as color, density, viscosity, assay of active ingredients, etc. To determine the compatibility of product with container and valve and vice versa. The samples are usually stored upside down so that they come in contact with the valve, mounting cup and container, and we can study. Okay, the stability of the containers can also be determined. The compatibility of the product with the container is done by chilling the contents of the container, and then the contents are emptied and examined for signs of corrosion. Containers with internal lacquering are examined to ensure that the lacquer is not softened, peeled or blistered. Plastic containers are tested for leaching and sorption. These all comes under stability testing. Valves are also checked for proper functioning. They should be properly dispense the product and should be properly closed. Dip tube must also be checked for any elongation or cracking and must be rectified if formed. Now let us see the quality control tests. These include test for containers, test for propellants, checking the weight of container, test for leakage, spray testing, test for actuator valve and dip tube, test for containers. Both coated and uncoated containers are checked for defects. The glass containers are checked for any flaws, brittleness, crack, while for metal containers the degree of conductivity of electric current is checked. Now test for propellants. A sheet of detailed specifications of propellants is provided by suppliers to the manufacturers. A sample of propellant is tested in lab where vapor pressure and density are checked according to specifications. The purity and acceptability is tested by determining moisture, halogens and non-volatile residue level. Checking the weight of container. The weight of containers are checked at every point, like weight of empty container, weight of filled container and weight of final product. Now test for leakage. The valve closures are tested for their efficiency by passing the filled container through a water bath and periodically checking the water bath temperature and recording the results. Spray testing. The testing is carried out to clear the dip tube prior to consumer's use. Spray testing helps to detect any defects in the valve and patterns of spray. Spray testing of metered valve serves to activate the valve so as to make it ready for use by consumers. Test for actuators, valves and dip tube. Valves are tested in following way. 25 valves are selected first as sample. These 25 valves are attached to 3 different containers containing 3 different solutions. A single delivery is dispensed by pressing the valve for 2 seconds. This is repeated 10 times. The acceptance value of valve is considered for 50 individual deliveries. The acceptance value, that is, if 4 or more individual deliveries do not comply with limits, then valves are rejected. If 3 individual deliveries do not comply with the limit, then the test is carried out on another 25 valves. If more than one individual delivery does not comply with the limit, then whole lot is rejected. If 2 individual deliveries from one valve does not comply with the limit, then test is carried out on further 25 valves. The lot of valve is accepted if not more than one delivery lies outside the specified limit. I hope you people understood this. Now the pharmaceutical applications. So we have already seen the uses of aerosols. let's see the applications. Aerosols exhibit local action in nose, throat and lungs, eye, ear, vagina or rectum. Aerosols also exhibit systemic effect as they pass through lungs and get absorbed directly into bloodstream. Metered dose inhalers helps in administration of liquid or solid mist to the respiratory system or the nasal passage. Inhalation aerosols are widely used in treatment of respiratory problems. Aerosols are used to formulate several agents which include local anesthetics, antiseptics, fungicides, antibiotics and anti-inflammatory agents. Vaginal and rectal preparations are used for contraception and to reduce pain and inflammation associated with infections. Certain cosmetic preparations like deodorants, perfumes, cosmetic hairsprays and shaving creams are also dispensed as aerosols. Now, the labeling and storage. The labeling should contain the following things. Do not puncture the bottle. Do not use or store the bottle near open flame or heat. Do not incinerate the bottle, like do not burn the bottle. Store that in temperatures between 15 to 30 degrees Celsius. Shake well before use. Hold at proper angle and distance from the place where the aerosol should be sprayed. Okay, these all things should be there on the label. Thank you for watching the video. Please like, share and subscribe. And please do comment and suggest. And if you have doubts, you can write in the comment section. Thank you.